So we're back for the fourth and last part of the making of the chicken bag, which is this dude here. First, what we're going to do in this one is we're going to finish off the face first. And the reason why we do that is because the actual strap attaches either side of the comb, and we need to have this in place. And if we're going to do that, we might as well do the beak as well. And then this is all finished and ready to make the strap. So I'll move him out the way, and I will bring in the comb that we made at the end of the last episode. At the end of this episode, I will put the pattern page back up so that you can have a screenshot of it if you like, but I won't put it in there at the moment because we're trying to do the next bit. So what I might do, instead of putting this on straight away, I might make the beak and then I can sew them both at the same time. So what I have here is our yellow, and I have doubled it over. It should be enough string here. Just work your yarn from both ends, or just have 2 balls of yarn. I can't tell you how much this is. I think it would be about 80 to a meter. So we just want to make yourself a magic circle. So we're going like this, and then we're going to cross it over the back, and we want to go under that one, over that one, pull that through, and then pull that through there, and that locks off that ring. Just move him out of the way a little bit, and we're just going to make a normal beginning of a granny square. So that's 1 and 2. And we're only doing the first row. We do a double crochet and then another one. So that's our first granny cluster, because the chain 3 becomes your first double crochet. Chain 2 here, and then we want to put 3 more double crochet clusters called granny clusters. So we have 4 in total. Make sure that you don't lose this tail, otherwise your magic circle won't close up when we're all done. And 2. And I think we're only just going to make it with this yarn. Oh, we're going to be short. Hang on, let me do this one stitch. We have a way that we can finish this. And I'll just pull that through one more time. So that has finished the actual thing. We need 1 more. So let's just get our yarn. Pull some out. Big knot, of course. Alright, just get some, doesn't matter how much. Fold it over, and then we want to go under here and pull that through. And what that will do is it will enable us to keep going. So we need 2 chains. Oh, something's happened there. Let me just see what's happened. That one has split. 1 and 2, which has now connected us to the yarn we already had. Get that out of the way so it's not messing up underneath. And we need 1 more lot of granny clusters. 1. Hold those strings to the side so they're not going to cause problems. 2 and 3. All right, pull that through. Of course, this knot is not being helpful. And through. Now we want to pull this before we lose the end of the magic circle. So just hold your work, pull that tail, and see how the center's closing up. just pull that a bit bigger so you can see. I put my thumb on it, but I'm just pulling the ones that were in the middle. Alright. Of course this knot is not being helpful. Okay. Pick up our thread again and finish it off. We still want the chain 2 at the end here. Well, actually, we'll do chain 1 because we don't need it as full, and our slip stitch can be the other chaining. Pull that through there. That was just going under the top chain of our very beginning, and then 1 and 2. Now pull that knot out a bit because we need a bit of a tail to help us sew it on. Cut that, and that is our beginning granny square right there. So all we do here is we just turn it over and it makes the beak. Now I'm just going to tie those two together so that it doesn't come undone. These are the two bits that are in the middle, and tie a knot, 1 and 2. Alright, just leave that at the back. Actually, I might go this way, and then we've got that little ridge at the front. Stick that all in there. You can put a little tongue in there if you like, but I'm not going to with this one. And yes, I did miss the chain 2 here, but it will be alright. Actually, we could use those, couldn't we? Let's just pull them to the back. Pop it through the middle. Pull them through the back. That's better. And that is our beak anyway. So what we need to do, we need to get our needle, thread up our ends. Make sure you get both of them. Yep, we got them. All right. Now, I'm not closing the middle at the moment. We're just going to put him on. And I want this part here to be the top. So I'm just folding it that way. We're going to put the beak where you'd like it. And then I'm just going to put a stay stitch here. Now, all a stay stitch is digging in, pull it through, and then come back through the loop. Hold it in place so it stays close. And you can see that. Just a little stay stitch holding it in place. Now I'm going to go through the chook's head to come out in the middle there. Right, so that will just, and I'm going in on the side of the magic ring. So not coming out the center, but we're going back in on the side. And then we want to pull this to about the same spot as the beak is on this side to that side. And we're going to come out over there. It really is a very quick beak to make. Alright, so that's now attached. And then we just want to go through the chain 2 that's on this side. And pull the beak that way. I will fix up that string in a minute. And we'll do another stay stitch here. Find the loop that you're pulling through. There we go. Pull it tight. Okay, now he's screaming at us, that's fine. You want to run your needle just in the yellow all the way to the tip of the beak right here, coming out at the top. Pull that through, and then we just want to sew the top to the bottom, just like that. That way it still looks like a beak, but it's not screaming at us. And we'll make this another stay stitch. Pull that through. So that's the beak. Now if you want, you can put another stitch up here. I don't generally. I might just take those off because they're starting to annoy me. We don't need to hide these ones because we've already tied them. There we go. Put that back. So that's our beak, and to get the yarn off where we are at, just weave it through the yellow back to the other end. Now you can do more stitches if you need to, but that should be enough just to hold it on. It's not under any strain, and that's his beak. And we'll just hide the end. You can do another stay stitch here if you want. And then poke it into the head and then out through the back. Done. So our chook now has a mouth. Just squish that and the end hides itself. He looks all crooked. Sit him up, right. Yep, that's better. So now we have the comb to put on. Now, as I said last week, I put all of the stitching into the back bumps of the original chain. So I still have the original chain here that I can sew on. It gives me a flat surface to sew it to the top of the head. So I'm going to thread up the end of the red yarn that I left attached. I try to always work double, that way it's as strong as the piece itself. And being the top of the head, you do want it quite strong. Okay, so this little bump is the front and this is the back, and our thread is coming right at the back. So we're going to put him on his like this so you can see it. And I might just snip that bit off. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail. I should be able to catch that as I sew it on. So we want to do it so that this part here comes down and sits between the top of the eyes. The middle bit sits above the top of the head, and the rest is down here. So just sit it there. Don't stretch it out. Just sit it where you think, and attach the end with a stay stitch. Like that. And that way it's just got us a place to start. Now, this is not correct. Not evenly pulled through, so it's making it crooked when I pull it. Now they should be right. Okay. So trying to keep the comb where you want it, you want to take a little bit from the comb and a little bit from the body. It doesn't have to be a whole loop, and then just pull it through. A little bit from the comb, a little bit from the body, pull it through. We're going to work like this all the way up. As you can see, that's quite firmly held. You're going to work all the way up, and then I'll come back when I'm to here to show you how to turn around and come the other way. So I've got all the way to the end here. I've got a little bit of gap there, and I'll just point out where the stitches are that I did all the way along. And when you get to here, make sure you look at your chook straight on so you can see whether the comb is in the middle. Now if you look, this part of my comb is that way a little bit, so when I do down the other side, I'm going to try and straighten it up. You want to try and get this as straight as you possibly can. If it's not perfect, that's all right, because chooks actually aren't straight, but for the handle to sit correctly, you want it as straight as you can make it. So we're just about at here. Now you're going to have to lift it up to see, and then you want to use the end of the needle like a pick and place your stitches, and then before you tighten it, put it through the comb so that it'll pull down into the gap. I'm pulling down between the eyes just so that it's seating right. Lift it up again, see where you're going. Now we want to get this one right between the eyes, like that. pull it up. Make sure it's not around the eyeballs. Now find this first top of a stitch, go through there, pull that down tight, and it should seat itself between the eyes. If you want to do a specific chook that has a different comb, you can do that. Now I'm just going to try and pick up some of the eyeball yarn, and I'm going to put a stay stitch right here. So pull it through so you only have the loop left. Go back through your loop and then pull it tight, and then saw it backwards and forwards, and it should pull it right into the gap. So we want to come here, and you want to turn it around, and now we've got to sew all the way back along. It is the same thing. You want to pick up a little bit from the comb, a little bit from the head. So I will continue doing this, and I will be back when I'm finished to show you what we're going to do next, which will be starting on the tail and beginning the strap. So here we are. The comb is on, the beak is on, the eyes are on. So that is the face finished. I'll turn it to the side so you can see. This is what I did here, just to bring it back in line. And if you look at compared to the other chook, it's pretty good. Eyes are a bit bigger, but we are using thicker yarn. So that's pretty good. We're happy with that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to create the tail. So first thing you want to do is flatten out this opening. And I've decided I'm not going to show you the wing flap. I'm not really happy with it, so I will just leave that off. If I think of another way to do the wing flap, I'll do another video about it. But at the moment, that's what we're doing. So I've put a stitch marker at the end here, which is the exact half. And then we want to turn the chook this way. And then we want to flatten this out and then pinch it in. Now what we're aiming for is we want to have 3 stitches. You can count them by the little V's on the top. This is 1, 2, 3. That's the one that's in. 1, 2, 3. That's the one that's in. So you want it fairly even. And I'm going to put a big stitch marker here to keep these 2 together. So this is how the tail starts. And I have my body yarns here, which if you remember, this is a 10 ply and this is an 8 ply, a white and like a cream speckled. So I'm just going to put a slip knot in the end, and then we are going to join up the tail. And the way we do this is put the yarn on the right side so I can see. I have the slip knot on my hook. I am going to go only on the back loop, so we're leaving the front loop free, and then we are going to pull that through. So that's just attached it to the end of this fold that we've made. And then we're going to pick up the back loop from here and the back loop from the other side, and then we'll pull it through and do a stitch. So that is a single crochet. Once again, same thing, there and there. So we've got loop on the hook and the 2 from the front and the back. Pull it through and then pull it through again. So this one here will be our next one. That's the one my stitch marker's on, which I might just take out before it causes a problem. And we need to get the next one. So we don't want both of them. We want, trying to make it so you can see without my hand being in the way. Right there. Back loops of both. Pull it through and make a stitch. Keep that out. And as you can see, all the front loops are still there because we're going to need them for the tail. So that's those 3. Now we need the 3 on the other side. So make sure you have 3, 3. So we want this one that the stitch marker's in. So we can now take that stitch marker out. And that. And 2 more left. Come on, there we go. That and the last one. Last one might be a little bit hard. You might have to dig for the loops. There's one, and there's the other one. Right. Now we should have 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. We do. Right. So with the strap, I'll show you on this one. This is where we're at, and this is the ones that I started from. What we're doing is we are doing just double crochets. Well, we've only got 6 here because we're going to leave the first one because that was just like a joining stitch. And we're also going to do a stacked double crochet to make it so we don't have any gaps. So I'll just turn the chook around. So that's our row we just did. So we're going to ignore this one on the end. Okay, we will hide that when we're all finished. So to do a stacked double crochet, we just pull our loop a little bit more. We're going back through the same hole, pick up a stitch, pull it through, and then you see there's 2 loops here. We're going through the front one, or the furthest one away, pull that through, and that. So that is our stacked double crochet, and then we just go along in the same holes of the stitches we just made. Let's put that out of the way because my string's not pulling. And we should have 6 double crochets along here. So this is the beginning of our strap. So this should be 4, I think. Yep, this looks a bit thicker, but it's filling that hole. If we just did a chain, there would be a hole there. So that is fine. 4 and 5 and 6. Sorry, not 4 and 6. So that is our first row of our strap. It is going to be a stretchable strap, so you've got to remember not to make your strap too long. So I'll just show you how to start the stacked double crochet again. We've just turned around. Make sure your string goes to the back. Yarn, string, same difference. So we're ready to start again. We go back through the top of the stitch we just completed, pick up a loop, pull it through. So that's a single crochet. Now we're going to go back through the front one of those, pull it up and pull it through. And you keep doing that on only these 6 stitches until your strap is the length you want it. Now what I will do is I will measure the strap I did on the other chook, who is right here. So we're starting at the tail. We did the strap. Right, so that's 15 inches. Hopefully my tape is long enough. 15. All right, so we're about at 32 inches to get where we need to separate to go on the head. So you can do 32 inches. I wouldn't count my rows because my tension will be different to yours. So hold the bag up, try and imagine it full, and try not to make the strap too long. I think the 32 inches is fine, and I will be back when my strap is up to here so I can show you how to separate to join these straps to the head. Hi, hope you're liking the video. Just me popping in to ask you if you would mind to subscribe. It's free, it's no obligation, you can stop at any time that you like. Liking and sharing the video also helps the channel. But if you'd like to contribute more, there is also the super thanks button down the bottom. Anything would help. It helps us buy yarn, helps keep creating stuff. And if you actually happen to see a hype button underneath the video, it's not there all the time. It's only when the video is freshly out. If you could press the hype button, that will also help us get seen by more people. Anyway, back to the video. So here we are at the end of making the strap. I've actually made mine slightly shorter than the 32 inches because I realised my bag is bigger than the other one in the bulk of here. So make sure you measure your strap against maybe another bag of the same size, or actually hang it against your body and see where it sits. So I've just been holding the end of the strap against the head and just seeing what it looks like. So I'm going to stop there. But I also forgot to show you what the stacked double crochet looks like at the end of the row when you're trying to pick it up. So I've got one more to do, and you should be able to see that little hole there. That is the top of the stacked double crochet. So you just go through it and finish your double crochet the same way. So, and then you're ready to start again on the other side. So once you've done the length you need for your strap, and this is our one here. Also, during this, I ran out of this yarn, which is actually a 12 ply, not an 8 ply. I said that wrong earlier. So it's done the majority of the bag, and it just ran out on the strap. The other ball of yarn is still going, but that was 140 gram. The other one's only 100 grams. So we should be able to finish without needing any more yarn. So once you get the length of the strap that you like, you need to separate for either side of the head. So we're going to do a stacked double crochet. So we just do that. And then we're only going to do 3 stitches. So half of the width of the handle, just like this. And we're going to do that for 3 rows. So I will just quickly do that while you watch. That's our stacked. Every time we start a new row, we do the stacked double crochets. And that one. Turn it over, put the string to the back, and we'll do one more, and then we're the right way to attach it to the head. So it's the first one, second one, and the third. So once we've attached the head, we need to do the same thing on the other side. So making sure that your strap is not twisted. This yarn is going to go here, but what we're going to do, hold it in place, turn the whole thing around, because we're going to be working that way across the strap. So you got to hold it in the right place. So you need to find the top of the head, which is about there. I'm still attached here, and we're going to dig in with a crochet hook and pick up a strand. Put through, pull, and pull. No, missed the last one. There you go, that way. Yep. And then we're going to slip stitch to the next stitch. This is deciding it likes to split now. What is it doing? Something's happened. There we go. And pull through. So we're into the next stitch. Luckily we only have 3 of these to do. This time we're going to add a loop. We're going to go lower down in the same line as the stitch we just picked up. Pick up a loop. And then finish this as if it's a double crochet. And 2. And then lastly we want to slip stitch into the last stitch. Pick up a loop. Pull that through. And pull that through that one. And then this one we will do as an extended double crochet. So what we're doing, we're going one step down again, pop it through, and then pull it through 1 loop, 2 loops, and 3 loops. Yeah. Oh, still didn't do it right. 1 and 2 just to secure it and cut it off. Now I will show you what that looks like. So that is our attached part there. We were going to hide these with our needle in a bit, and that's what it looks like. It has cleared the comb here. So to do the other side, we need to turn the bag around again, and we will attach. Now because we're doing double crochets, we can do a standing double crochet, which if you haven't seen one of those, they go like this. Your string on the right side, you've got the slip knot on your hook, you've got a loop on your hook. You find the next stitch you want to go through, keeping your finger on your hook so your string doesn't unravel. Pull through 2, pull through 2, and that is a standing double crochet. You must keep your finger on the loops, otherwise it just doesn't work. So we're just going to repeat what we did with the other side. So 3 rows plain, and then we got to do that again. It will be the same, but we're going to be going down that way rather than this way. So I'll come back when that's done and the ends are woven in, and then all we have to do is the feathers around the end of the strap, and we're done. So I'll be back in a minute. And here it is. They're both attached. Now if you find this joining method too hard, you can just do the 3 rows and then sew them on, but what you need to do is you need to have the differing lengths so that it doesn't pull the head out of shape and that the handle hangs straight. So this is the way I do it, but if you want to sew them, go by all means, but make sure you leave the length on the sides so that it can hang straight. So I'll turn it that way so you can see. I've still got to weave in some ends on that side, but most of them have been woven in. And now we need to just do the tail feathers. This is our last thing we got to do. So if I show you on this one, all I do for the tail feathers is I just do some fan stitches on the free loops where the strap has come out. So I've got 4 on there. You may end up with 5, you may end up with 3. They are just 7 stitch fans with a single crochet between them. So I will show you that. Where's our strip? Here it is. So you can use a different color tail feathers if you want. Entirely up to you. And here we go. So we're treating these 3 loops. Now if you can see them, these are all the front loops we didn't use when we attached the tail. Okay. So I'm just going to slip stitch. Now sometimes when you're just dealing with front loops, they're a little bit hard to pick up, so I turn the hook over and get them that way. Just pulls them out a little bit easier. So we're going to have this stitch as our first single crochet. So we had the slip stitch on our hook, and we want to skip 1 and we're going to go into the next one, and we're going to do 7 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and you might see that the loops pull up quite a bit. They will settle down once you've got them all on. It's just because you're pulling on it basically. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now you don't have to do 7, you could do 5, you could even do 3. I would always use an odd number because then it makes a proper shape. If you use an even number, it will flatten out. So we skip 1 and we're putting a stitch in there. That's the next. Actually show you. There's the one we skipped. So we're going for this one. Pick up a, make sure you get both of them. Pick up a loop and do a single crochet, skip 1, and then we're going for this one here, and we do another 7. Now this fan will end up going around the corner. That is fine. We actually would like that. We don't want them two on this side, two on that side. We want them like around so that they look like feathers. So I'm going to keep working around, and I'll come back. No, actually, I'll just keep going. Working on the corner, probably a good thing to show you. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. These are just double crochets, and 7. Alright, so move the strap out the way, turn the whole thing around. We are in that one. We're going to skip that one, and we want to go here to that one there, and we're going to do that one as a single crochet. Move the strap out the way so we can see. Okay, so now if we skip that one, we are actually right over where it separates. So for this one, I'm getting the outside one of there and the outside one of there, if I can get through. Right. This will be what we're going to hang this fan off. You see that one there? And you also see I forgot to pick up my loop first. Try that again. 1 and 2. And this will help the join stay together. That is going to be annoying. Like that. Next one. So just take your time doing this. So there's the first 2. So I'm going to keep going on this, and I'll be back when I'm back over here. So here we are, the tail is finished. Now they do scrunch up together. That is actually what you want. This one sits on top of those, but it covers where the strap comes out, that's the word. I've woven all the ends in, and I've woven them in up the strap so that the fans try to go towards the top of the strap. So that's your basic chook finished. Chook bag, chicken bag, whatever you want to call it. And as I said, I'm not going to actually do this flap as a part of the tutorial because I'm not totally happy with how it sits. Just move that out the way. But if you want to make your own, I just made that shape, however you want to make it, and I just attached it to one side. And you can put like a button or a loop and a button or whatever you like. Another option is to close the bag is a zipper. So you can either have a decorative one sewn to the outside. So like, because this has got a fancy edge, you would sew it to the outside. Or you can get a dress zip and sew it to the inside. Now the only problem with doing that, you'll have to hand sew it. And yeah, that's just what you'd have to do because I wouldn't put this through a machine. The hole's not big enough. So you just sit it where you want it and then hand sew on the surface with the same yarn, making sure that the teeth are clear of the edge there. Or you can just leave it how it is. Because of the way it's designed, if you have weight in here, it will actually pull itself closed a bit. So what I'll do is I'll move all this stuff out of the way and I will show you the bags finished with stuff in them so you can see the weight. And here we are. The chook bag is finished. So as you can see, they are quite a bit different in size, and the heads do stay upright even when you're not hanging them, which is what I wanted. That's why we have that little bit of material sewn into them. This one has the flap on, but like I said, I'm not really happy with that. That's why I didn't show you that in the patterning. But when you hold them up, the top does pull itself closed a bit. But you can put a zip on, you can put a loop and a button. It's entirely your choice. Another little thing you could do is you could embroider the feet. And when I did these before, I just embroidered them with this beak color. So you just need like 3 lines and then the line at the back. Just play around with it. You don't need them at all if you don't want to. So that's the end of the tutorial. I hope it was informative for you. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the comments down below. I do check through quite often afterwards. Also, if you see the hype button, feel free to press it. That does help more people see the video. And I will see you on the next one.